oil. So we're going to have a go at painting some eyes using oil paint today. I'm going to be doing it on my Keeper of Secrets. So the colours we're going to use is, first and foremost, we're going to use violet. This is just a generic Reeves oil colour paint we've had knocking around for years. And I've already got that laid out on the palette. I used just a cheap brush from Amazon. I think this entire set of brushes costs like £3, next to nothing. And you want to use a fine brush with a nice point. So I've got mineral spirits here, and I've got two glasses. The one on the right is going to be used for washing most of that colour out. Now, you're not going to get it all out. You don't want to be putting your brush that's been in oil paint into spirits that have already got colour in themselves. You're just going to get pigments back in the brush, and once it dries in there, it's staying in there. So we get a large size brush, and we're just going to be mixing some of this violet into a consistency that we can apply it. Now we want it slightly thicker than a wash. As you can see, we've just zoomed in here just to better see what's going on. So we just get some of that, put it in the paint well. Shame about the shaky camera, but we'll have to live with it. So we're just going to keep mixing some of that in. Now you can paint with that, but it's just too thick for our purpose. So we're just going to keep mixing it down. Keep adding spirit. And because we've got a nice dollop on the side, if we add too much, we can always just add a bit more paint. So it's not nothing to worry about. It's not a stressful process. As you can see, that's kind of the consistency we're looking for, just so once we put it onto the miniature, it stays there. So let's zoom out and get to applying it. Okay, so when we look at the model, we just want to take a quick note of our canvas, as it were, and then just think about where we're going to apply the eye. So you could do a direction, so you put them one side, but you kind of want the eyes to line up so it's looking forward. At least I do in this case. Now I'm just going to apply one dot onto the, as we're looking at it, the right eye. I'm just going to see if I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm going to adjust it. I could have, but I thought no. I'm going to apply the left eye, and then we can do some adjustments in a moment if needed. But it just so happens that where I placed it, I'm kind of happy with it. So I'll hold it away, look at it. Am I happy? Yeah, roughly. I'm fairly happy. I think the left eye can just go a little bit more to the right, which is what I was indicating there. So now the job from after doing the pupil, which is what we've done, is we're going to extend that to be the size of the iris. So just do little circles, try to keep it as circular as possible, and you're just going to work around, and there you go. You have a good start for your iris, which is a lot larger, as you can see, than that little dot we put on. So do that to the other eye, and then once that's applied, we do very much the same thing. Just take it away, look at it, see if it looks right. Now a good trick you can do, if you're interested in seeing how the eye looks, is just put your thumb over half the model, like this, and see if that looks okay. Now to me that looks fine, that looks fine. I kind of just want to get rid of any other visual static, as it were, so any confusion that's being dragged away from concentrating on just those eyes. So I'm fairly happy. I mean, if I wasn't, what you can do, and the joy of working with oil paints, is you can just dip your brush into some clear spirits, wipe it off, and you have a completely blank canvas. Now, I actually did that once already before recording this video, so I wasn't happy with where I placed it. I believe I was just a little too sloppy. So you can see, I like where it was going, so I'm just going to extend it now. Obviously you don't have to do circles, you could do whatever type eyes, you could do cat style eyes, anything with this. And the bonus of doing that is you could say do your rugby ball shape for your cat's eye, and then if you've got it all wonky, just get yourself a brush with a bit of white spirits on, and then just work away at the edges and work from the white into the colour, wiping it away, erasing it until you where you want to be. So I'm just looking at this upside down as it's yet another angle. It kind of gives you another idea of how the eyes are going. So I think it just needs a little more work. Not much, just a little. It's just adding a bit more paint, just getting that violet just a bit more solid. Focus is struggling a bit there. Yeah, I think we're in a good spot at the moment. I'm just checking it out, putting up the camera. There we go. And we're pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with that. So as you can see, I've been looking at the eyes and I've decided that one of the eyes, the left one as we're looking at it, needs a bit more work. So I've just washed all the paint out. I've got the brush soaked in mineral spirit, so it's going to just flat out erase whatever. There we go, and that little bit of overspill from the paint is gone. A lot neater. Now that will spill into whatever cracks are there, so it will go into the crack of the eye, so it means you've got to wipe it out afterwards, which I've done. So I'm pretty happy with where the iris are, so now we have to go back to the pupil and we're going to do some ivory black. So just get that on the palette, and you do exactly the same thing as you did before. Just thin it down with some clean spirits, get a dollop of it on, put it in the paint well. Fortunately it's off camera, but you just, doesn't matter if it's dirty because it's black, so all that's going to happen if you've got a bit of purple in there is it's just going to blend in a little more, and obviously we needed a little more. Again, apologies it's off camera, but we're going to get to that, and I'll be back when we actually start applying it to the miniature. So we've loaded up the brush, and now what we're going to do is we're just going to dot in the very centre of there. Now, you could do this with acrylics, but again, if I mess up with acrylics, that's going to be an issue. So I'm just doing it with black paint, so I'm just going to put it in the centre. Now the violet's going to appear, because it's got black in the centre, very dark, so you're not going to notice too easily the difference, but your eye is used to noticing this type of stuff, so from a distance it will read correct if it's alright. You could just do it with just black, but I like the idea of having that purple around there. Obviously if it was with a light blue it might show a bit more, but that's as simple as it is for doing the black, and that could be where you leave it. But what we're going to do now is we're going to get some magenta, and we're going to apply that to the recesses of the eye, and that's in an attempt to make it a bit more lifelike. So when you look at an eye, it's not just white straight to skin, you've got that membrane, and this is what we're going to use. You could use a darkish red, anything in the reddish, pinkish like range, any of those hues, that'll show quite nicely. Depending on what you want to do. If you're doing an alien species, I suppose you could do a different colour. There's nothing stopping you doing that. But for this, we're going to go with magenta. So exactly the same thing again. We're going to load it up onto the palette, but we're going to make this one a lot thinner because we want it to be more of a wash. So now we've got a consistency that we can work with. So what we're going to do is we're going to load it up onto the brush and we're going to just start applying it into the crease of the eye. It's easy to work on the outside one, so do those first. Unfortunately, the shot is going to be out of focus a little bit, so I'm going to skip ahead to where we've got it back into focus and we're still working on the, as you look at it, left eye. So we've got it in the far corner, now we're just going to be applying the magenta into the near corner near the nose. As you can see, we've got it on the cheekbone, but as I said before, you can just wipe all the paints away, as you're going to see now. There we go. I even use my finger just to wipe that fine bit off. Now a bit of colour going on around the eye just adds a bit of extra depth, but I decided to wipe the vast majority of the way. And we got just a little on the eyeball, so I decided I didn't want that and neatened it up. So we've done that one eye, and I think that reads a lot better than it did before, so we're going to move on to the next one. So done, just apply it in. As you can see, we've got it on the cheekbone, and it's a non-issue because we can just easily clean it up later. Dab it in there, and that's the far side done. Near side, get in, have a look. If you like it, keep it. If you don't, continue to work it. One of the joys of oils, it's just so simple. So I think that's now reading pretty much where I want to be. It's just a case of cleaning it up and then we are done. There we go. Hold it away from you. Have a look at your work. Now I am happy with that, so I'm going to leave it as is. And we're good. Cheers for stopping by. Well guys, that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, like, comment and subscribe. Also be sure to check out our Facebook page at Wolfen Studios, the link's in the description. As always, thanks for stopping by, catch you next time.